Hello there, welcome to Granada Reports.
Hello, coming up on the programme this evening.
Causing a stink, the landfill site that's making life miserable for residents and businesses. Some people living nearby say on some days the smell makes them fear for their health.
3 of my children have got asthma confirmed. This little one's showing signs of breathing difficulties. And you just, wonder it's to do with what they're breathing in the air on a daily basis.
Good grief, how a loving sister's memory lives on in a play and a book, and how they can help us all cope at the most painful times of our lives.
A story that will run and run, the 3 wheeled frames which are helping inspire the Paralympians of the future.
I wouldn't have ever imagined I could run or push 5K.
Go like this. I cabbaged Sir Paul McCartney. I cabbaged him.
Yeah, how to make an impact on a Beatle. We introduce Crawlers, the new band from Liverpool, determined to make a difference.
As we head towards the end of the week, a nice source of mild air, but with the lows come unsettled weather too. All the details before the end of the programme.
We begin tonight with something causing real concern for people in a part of Greater Manchester. Residents and business people in the Pillsworth area of Bury have been living with a bad smell in the air for months.
Yeah, it has many of them worried about their health and their businesses, especially at a pub with a popular beer garden. It's coming from a landfill site but has been smelt miles away in Rochdale. People say on certain days when the wind is blowing the smell towards them, it's impossible to go outdoors.
Tonight, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, is having a meeting with some of those residents and the Environment Agency in a bid to see what action can be taken.
Our reporter Siham Ali has more.
Unbearable and inescapable. This landfill site in Bury is impossible to ignore. Not only is it growing in size, but in smell too. Located east of the M66, the stifling eggy smell travels far. Nikki, a mother of 4, worries about her children.
Worry about what kind of environment we've sort of brought them into because they're living it 24/7 with us. 3 of my children have got asthma confirmed. This little one is showing signs of breathing difficulties. And you just, wonder it's to do with what they're breathing in the air on a daily basis. I only had very mild asthma, and then about 18 months ago I was put on permanent steroids and stuff because mine had got so much more worse.
She's not alone though. Steve, another local, questions his future here.
Do I want to put up with this for the rest of my life? I don't really, but I do wonder whether I'll be able to sell my house even if I wanted to, because who would want to live here with this smell? We shouldn't have to put up with it, and quite frankly I think that the landfill should be shut down.
A petition calling for an investigation into the landfill has attracted over 3,000 signatures. The stench cloaking this town isn't just affecting locals physically, but financially too. Shutting windows and doors just isn't an option for this local pub.
We've just built a new outside bar, we've got a fresh pizza making place, we've got seats for like up to 150 people. I'm really worried that by Easter, which is only a few weeks away, and the weather changes and everything will be ready to rock and roll, they might not come. If it stinks, they're not going to want to sit outside. It's awful when it's like that. So it could affect business adversely quite badly. But it means the difference between, developing the business and maybe losing the business.
On its worst days, residents deal with swarms of unwelcome flies. One on the Action Group Facebook page sent me this. She says this is the 4th fly trap she's had to put up this winter. Operators of the landfill site Valencia Management Limited say the odour is due to exposed waste that is now being temporarily capped. For local councillor Angela Brown, there are more questions than answers.
We don't really understand what's happening. We don't know why all of a sudden this landfill that's been there for 10 years is now impacting so many people in such a way.
Residents say the only way to save their homes is to stop the stink once and for all.
And Siham joins us now. Siham, you've been to the site, you've described the eggy smell, but that's not the half of it, is it?
Well, exactly. The eggy smell, eggy is one way of describing it. They also said gas-like and rotten. And I spent the day there and I spoke to residents, and I would say those were correct words for this smell. At times, it would be very, very pungent. Now, the problem is spring is around the corner and summer won't be far off. And as we saw in my piece, flies come with the territory of a warmer climate. Now, that's what residents are really worried about. The Environment Agency, which regulates the site and essentially has all the power to investigate complaints, has said that it is aware of the complaints and is working with Valencia, the site operators, to investigate the bad smell. Interestingly, they did tell me that they think Valencia has exacerbated the problem by capping the landfill without seeking the authorisation of the Environment Agency, meaning that there's been exposed waste for a while. In response to that claim and also our reporting, the Environment, Valencia said, we are taking these odour issues very seriously and we are fully committed to completing this quickly and effectively. And they've also told us 80% of the capping work has been completed, and they're feeling positive about it. So obviously, guys, you can see there's a lot of back and forth, and residents don't want any more questions. They want answers, they want action, and rightly so. And we're hoping that they get that very, very soon.
Yeah, a lot of people very unhappy about this. So what's expected to happen after this meeting between Andy Burnham and the Environment Agency this evening?
Well, yes, that's going to be a big meeting. Andy Burnham visited the landfill site a few weeks ago, and he said he was taken aback by the stench. And today, he said it felt like a punch in the face. Obviously, that's quite dramatic, but, you know, a lot of residents were saying that too. So he's meeting with the Environment Agency and a few residents to try and sort this problem out, to see what can be done of it. We obviously don't know what will happen in the meeting, but we caught up with him earlier, and this is what he had to say.
This isn't how it should be in this country. So there needs to be quite urgent change. And if I don't get today what I want from the Environment Agency, I will be asking ministers to order senior public health officials into that area to take the relevant soundings and to report back on exactly what is going on here, what is the pollution in the air, what action is being taken to reduce it, and inform the residents about what risks they may be exposed to.
So obviously Andy Burnham is taking the situation seriously, which is good news for residents. But ultimately what they want to know is, when is the smell going to go away permanently, and when can they get back to their normal lives?
Yeah, let's hope they get those answers soon. Siham, thank you.
Thank you. Postmasters in the region are giving a guarded welcome to a new law being introduced to clear the names of the hundreds wrongly convicted in the Post Office Horizon scandal. The legislation is expected to clear the majority of the victims in England and Wales by the end of July. The Prime Minister says it is an important step forward in finally clearing hundreds of sub-postmasters. Those wrongly convicted will get an option to settle for £600,000 without the need to bring a formal claim.
It's a bit of a mixed feeling. It's good that we've got to this point and that finally these convictions are going to get overturned for all of those people. But it's also not until July, and then we've got to look at the grey areas. So it's going to be dragged out a little bit further.
A special workshop has taken place in Bolton to mark the 40th anniversary of No Smoking Day. Health leaders met students from the town's University Collegiate School to hear their views on smoking and youth vaping. The government's announced legislation to make it illegal for anyone born after 2009 to be sold tobacco. And Greater Manchester plans to become a smoke-free city region by 2030.
Smoking is harmful and we know leads to preventable illnesses and early death for 2 out of 3 smokers. So it's really important that today's young people and the young people that are here today have that information, the relevant information, the messaging, so that they can have happier, healthier lives.
The Victoria Cross, awarded to a Lieutenant Commander from Cheshire, has fetched £220,000 at auction. During the First World War, Edgar Christopher Cookson was recognised for his bravery when he jumped onto an enemy ship wielding an axe. He was shot several times and died within minutes. He was awarded the Victoria Cross after his death in 1915.
And some news for the Isle of Man. Queen Camilla will be paying a visit next week. She'll be there to formally confer city status on the island's capital, Douglas. The Mayor of Douglas has said it will be an historic moment, with further details of the Queen's visit to be revealed over the next few days.
Now, sadly, as many of us know, there are few things in life that are harder to deal with than the loss of a loved one. But a woman from Bury found something to help her come to terms with the death of her sister Rita. It is a play called Good Grief.
It has already toured the country, and it tells the story of Rita losing both of her parents at a young age. Well, now it's been turned into a book, and her family have set up a fundraiser to get it into bereavement charities across the northwest. Sam Taylor reports.
Grief is really hard, and losing has been, one of the toughest things I've ever been through. And the person I'd love to speak to is her, because she was such a big, she would help, she helped many people through their journeys of grief.
Nyla's sister, Rita Reynolson, was never afraid to talk about grief. After she lost her parents at a young age, it was something she knew more than most. But when the trainee nurse from Liverpool died in January, the person her friends and family would go to for help was gone. But Rita's thoughts and experiences do live on as a part of Good Grief, a play that tackles death and mourning through comedy. The play features recordings of Rita, in which she tells the story of learning to live with the loss of her parents.
I don't believe that grief is something wrong. There are hundreds and thousands of people out there that are going to grieve today. I have 9 siblings that grieve with me. We all lost our parents.
The play was first performed here at the Unity Theatre in Liverpool. Her sister, Nyla, sat down with me to watch it for the very first time.
It's nice to see how far you've come from the start as well. I think it's really important to see that. Because it is a really, really long journey. I would say that just because someone else's life has stopped, yours doesn't stop with it. Always be grateful for your own strength. And yeah, life is a party.
Oh, that's just Rita, isn't it?
So what's it like seeing that?
Oh, it's hard, but it's just encapsulates who she was.
The play no longer tours, but it was later turned into a book. Now, Nyla is raising money to donate copies to bereavement and suicide prevention charities in Rita's name.
What I wanted to do was to keep her legacy going and to keep that good work that she did going through her work, really, because there's nothing greater than her own words.
One of the organisers of the fundraiser is Care Merseyside, where Rita volunteered to support vulnerable people during the pandemic.
She was an amazing, empowered, strong young woman who shared a really, really sad story for a lot of people to see and hear. We assigned her an older lady who was a retired NHS nurse, and the lady was that impressed with Rita that she ended up making a contribution to our charity, which was something that we weren't expecting, but that's just an example of how much of an impression Rita had on everyone.
While she might not be here anymore, Rita's friends and family hope her words can continue to comfort people as they go through grief, just as it's comforted them. Sam Taylor, ITV News, Liverpool.
Oh, no, thanks so much to Nyla for talking to us about her sister Rita. And there are details about the book, Good Grief, on our website.
Yeah, such a great legacy, such an important subject. OK, still lots to come on the programme. Once seen, never forgotten. Crawler's the latest new talent on Granada introducing.
And weather-wise, there have been plenty of showery rain around today, plenty more to come tomorrow, but mild weather too. All the details in just a few minutes.
And here's what's coming up later in the ITV News at 6:30 with Mary.
Coming up in the programme, claims the Prime Minister is trading money for morals. Pressures mounting on Rishi Sunak to hand back millions in party funding after admitting the Tories' largest donor had made comments he called racist and wrong about the MP Diane Abbott. Sir Keir Starmer's vowed to legalise assisted dying in the next Parliament and...
turn on the subtitles.
The Hollywood star joining forces with parents in Essex to get children reading while watching TV. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
I watch a lot with the subtitles on.
It helps, doesn't it, a lot sometimes?
Not sure it's my age. OK, on to sport now. Jurgen Klopp is welcoming changes at the top at Liverpool, Mike.
Yeah, he's been speaking ahead of tomorrow's Europa League clash against Sparta Prague, and he has supported the club's decision to bring Michael Edwards back to Anfield. Edwards left his role as sporting director 2 years ago, but will return in the summer as Fenway Sports Group's chief executive of football. One of his first jobs will be appointing Klopp's replacement. The Reds boss says Edwards did not attempt to persuade him to stay.
No, because, and that's very important in the job, because he's not dumb. That was not a subject to talk about, to be honest. It's like, can you imagine I changed my mind? No. Just can you? So, of course not. I cannot say what I said. It would be like if I never ever another club in England and sign for next year for our neighbors or whatever, or whoever needs a coach. That would be completely crazy. I don't say these things without thinking before. I just want the club to do as good as somehow possible, and I'm really sure that we create a good basis with the right people in charge, and Michael is a top choice.
He's not going to change his mind, is he? Next tonight, Manchester United legend Ryan Giggs is back in football. He's become the director of football at League Two Salford City. Giggs is one of the club's co-owners, along with David Beckham, the Neville brothers, Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt. Giggs stepped down as manager of Wales in 2022 as he faced trial over allegations of domestic abuse, of which he was cleared. Preston North End chairman Peter Ridsdale has warned English football will be finished if the Football League doesn't remain competitive and sustainable. It comes after Premier League clubs met on Monday to discuss a funding deal with the EFL and failed to reach an agreement. Ridsdale says the lack of an offer is very frustrating. The deal being discussed is expected to be worth around £900 million over 6 years. Next to a huge win for Bolton Wanderers that keeps their promotion push firmly on track, they are just a point outside the League One automatic promotion spots thanks to last night's emphatic 5-0 victory at home to Oxford United. Elsewhere, Blackpool are closing in on the playoff places after their 1-0 win at Northampton Town. Let's take a look at the night's other winners. They all came in League Two. Crewe Alexandra maintained the pressure on the top three with a 1-0 win against Sutton United. Accrington Stanley won their first match since the departure of manager John Coleman. They beat Swindon by 2-1. They are 15th in the table, 1 place above Tranmere Rovers, who recorded a 2-1 victory over Mansfield at Prenton Park. Well, next to a growing sport that it's hoped will make its way into the 2028 Paralympics. It originated in Denmark in the 1990s and is providing young people with severe disabilities with their first ever experience of running. I went along to a training session in Manchester to learn all about frame running. Until recently, none of these young people knew how it felt to run. But thanks to these specially adapted trikes, they now get to experience something so many of us take for granted.
You've got a seat that the user sits on and a chest plate, so it takes all your body weight, it supports your full body, and it enables people who can't walk to run.
Which is a game changer, isn't it?
It means so much, not only for the emotional benefit, but for the physical health benefit. It's just massive, especially for kids with chronic conditions like cerebral palsy.
Tully Kearney is a Paralympic swimming champion who uses frame running as part of her training routine. She was the driving force in setting up the Northwest's first frame running hub. It's available to anyone with a neurological impairment. Many in this class, including Tully, have cerebral palsy.
Sometimes people come and the parents are like, oh, I don't think they can do this, and then they're just like, oh wow, like my child can actually run. But I think for me it's seeing the joy and the smiles and realising and getting that confidence that they can actually do things and they can participate in sport.
The group trains once a week at the Manchester Regional Arena, sharing track time with British Olympians and Paralympians. Former para-athlete Claire Buckle runs the sessions.
Sprint, 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 sprint. Here, everyone's treated exactly the same. Some of these don't see other people actually like themselves, so here's a great opportunity to actually mix.
And it's for all ages. The youngest in this group is 5. The oldest is 32-year-old Mikey Pill from Runcorn.
It's just opened a number of doors. I take part in park run every week.
Would that have seemed unimaginable a few years ago?
A few years ago, definitely. I wouldn't have ever imagined that I could run or push 5k.
Life-changing for Mikey, and he's not the only one who says this class is the highlight of the week.
It is the first sport I have been able to take part in. I find it hard but enjoyable.
When I was first starting here, I had to go for a surgery on both my hips, so it's helped with the recovery of that.
I just love coming here. I love the fact that we are running next to real athletes.
But now Patrick, Charlie and Eva are athletes themselves, and it's hoped their stories will inspire others to get involved.
I think being in a Paralympic year, hopefully we're trying to highlight the sports that are out there for people with more severe disabilities, and I don't want anyone at home looking at the TV and not seeing themselves and not thinking they can do it, because they can.
The ambition now is for frame running to be included in the 2028 Los Angeles Paralympics. Remember these faces, you might just see them there. And if you're interested in joining that club, you will find contact details on our website. A remarkable group of people.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, there's no stopping them, Mike. What a fantastic report that was. Loved it. Thank you. Well, next tonight, the Merseyside band, which left a lasting impression on Sir Paul McCartney, it's Crawlers. They're currently celebrating their long-awaited first album.
They've got an important message about making gigs safe and inclusive for all, and they still pinch themselves about getting to make music for a living.
3 of them met when they were studying music at LIPA, but when they got the chance to meet Sir Paul himself, it turned into a bit of an awkward encounter. They've been chatting to Elaine Wilcox.
It's taken Crawlers 6 years from rehearsing in a shed in Warrington to releasing their debut album.
Obviously we've been just in the studio recording it for like the best part of last year, and now people are hearing the songs and learning them and claiming them, and it's been really nice.
They caught people's attention with their first track, Come Over, which went viral.
I sent it to our manager and he drunk called me like, oh my God, Holly, you need to get this one. This is the one.
In your music, you really are tackling some really challenging issues, you know, toxic relationships, loneliness, being vulnerable. And how is that like when you're performing those live in front of an audience?
I think it was like when you're in this political climate where being queer sometimes feels really unsafe. One thing about a Crawlers concert is our incredible fan base holding each other and feeling like they have a place to be unapologetically themselves.
Often people come to a Crawlers show and find friends and find people like them.
With Harry on drums, Holly, Amy and Liv all met while they were studying at Liverpool's Institute of Performing Arts. But meeting its founder, Sir Paul McCartney, didn't quite go to plan.
I've been preparing for this handshake 3 years. On the day, they go, actually, it's COVID, so you're going to give him a fist bump. Sorry, I've been mentally preparing. So he comes up to me to do this.
And Paul.
And I go like this. I cabbaged Sir Paul McCartney. And he went, you can't make that up. You meet Sir Paul McCartney and then you're playing Lollapalooza the next day. I'm sat on the plane like this, like, I've literally held Paul McCartney's hand and cabbaged him.
Now signed to Polydor Records, joining the likes of Sam Fender and Billie Eilish. They're touring back in Liverpool to play the legendary Jacaranda Club's Baltic venue.
Glastonbury last year, main stage, Reading and Leeds this year.
Yeah, when the offer came in for main stage, we were just like, we're so buzzing, and we're like thinking about the set and the show already.
And if people haven't been to a Crawlers gig yet, what do they get?
Free therapy.
Good music.
Fab. And that's what cabbaging is.
Apparently so. There you go. More from Elaine and Granada are introducing soon. Now the weather. Here's James.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Good evening. It's been a bit of a wet one today. We're going to see more wet weather too. This little front that's been lying across us has been pushing its way further down towards the southeast. Problem is it's set to move back across us. So more wet weather to come. Some pretty high totals, particularly for the Lake District, but not just there. We will eventually see things settle down into the weekend. A little ripple of high pressure, but we're not quite there yet. So this front, as I say, pushing a bit further north. We're going to see hopefully something a little bit dry, at least for a while, further south, the likes of Cheshire. And as far as temperatures go, because of the amount of cloud and because of the rain and because we've got this mild source of air, we're not looking at a chilly one. Under the rain, 7 Celsius, but potentially double figures further south. So a bit of a grey start to the day on Thursday. It's going to be a little bit hit and miss as far as these showers go. We will see more organised showers pushing in from the west later on in the day, but for a while at least there is the possibility of seeing some bright or even, dare I say it, sunny weather. Now as far as temperatures go, because of that wind direction, it's going to be surprisingly mild for the time of year, looking at highs of 14, maybe 15 Celsius, but that really depends upon how much sunny weather you see. As far as the next few days go then, a bit of a mixed bag. Friday set to be a bit of a wet start, another showery band of weather moving through, but hopefully dry and brighter later. I mentioned things getting fresher for a while. It's a little ripple of high pressure. That will give us a bit of a fresh start on Saturday, maybe bright weather before more cloud and showers later on in the day, and a bit more showery weather to come on Sunday. Have a good evening.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thanks, James. That's it.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.